Dear learners, in this video we will discuss about JDBC result sets. The SQL statements that read the data from the database returns the data in a result set. The select statement is a standard way to retrieve the data from the database and view them in the result set. The SQL package contains a predefined interface called as result set, which represents the result set of a database query. The result set object maintains a cursor that points to the current row in the result set. The term result set refers to the row and the column data that is contained in the result set object. There are three categories of method in the result set interface. The first one is a navigational method. The second category is a get method, and the third category is the update method. Here are the set of methods and its description that is used for navigating a result set. The first method is before first. It moves the cursor just before the first row. The method after last moves the cursor just after the last row. The method first moves the cursor to the first row. The method last moves the cursor to the last row, and the method next moves the cursor to the next row. This next method will return false if there is no more rows available in the result set. The another method called as previous, it moves the cursor to the previous row. This method will return false if the previous row is of the result set. That is, no previous row exists. In that case, it will return a false. The next method is a getRow method. It will return the row number that the cursor is currently pointing to. The next method is called as a absolute method. This absolute method will take an integer as an argument which represents the specific row number to which the cursor have to be moved. Next is a set of methods that is used for viewing a result set. GetInt method, getString and getFloat. GetInt, getString and getFloat method will take two types of arguments. One is getInt can take column index as well as it can take column name as argument. Same getString method can take the column index as well as the column name as argument, and getFloat method can take both the column index as well as the column name as argument. Column index refers to the column number, like the first column, second column and third column. The getInt method returns the data in the current row of the specified column index. Where the column index is specified is in the argument. It returns the data as an integer. If you want to return the fetched data as a string, you can use the getString method. And if you want to return the data fetched from the current row as a float value, we can use the getFloat method. The third category of method is for updating the result set. We have method for inserting a row, which inserts a row into the database. DeleteRow method deletes the current row from the database. UpdateRow method updates the current row in the database. And you have the two other methods for updating the string. UpdateString method can take, it takes two arguments. First argument is column index and the string to be updated. And the another version of the UpdateString method is, instead of specifying the column index, that is a column number 1, 2, 3, you can specify the column name itself and it's the newly to be updated value. It changes the string in the specified column to the value present in the argument. And the next method is a refreshRow method, which refreshes the data in the result set to reflect any of the recent changes that is made in the database. And we have another method called as cancelRowUpdates method, which cancels any of the updates made in the current row so far. Here is a simple program that explains the usage of the result set. We have to import the package called as SQL, import java.sql.asterisk. Then we are defining a main method. We are writing all the connection statements here. We are creating the statement object By using the statement object, we are invoking, that is, we are writing the select query, that is select asterisk from employee, that is select all the details from the employee table, and the query is written as an argument of the execute query method. If it is a select query, we have to use the method called as execute query. Provided if it is the insert, delete, update queries, instead of execute query method, we have to use another method called as execute update. Here in our purpose, it is a select query. The select query fetches the data into the result set. So on the left hand side, the result set interface is created with a variable, that is result set object RS is created, and is equal to using statement object invoke the execute query method with the query in the argument. Query is given as a string in the argument. Now the entire detail, see for example as shown here, we are considering the employee table contains 3 columns. In that 3 column, I want to print only the second row of the fetched table. Second row from the result set alone have to be printed. In that case, we have exposed about a method called as absolute. So rs.absolute of 2, which indicates the second row. The cursor will move to the specified row. What is the specified row here? Is in the argument 2. Okay, so the cursor moves to the second row, and in the second row, we are using the getString method to fetch the data present in that specified row as a string value. Okay, so rs.getString of 1, which indicates I am mentioning the column index 1. This is indicated as column employee ID, column index is 1, name column index is 2, and salary column index is 3. So that is what we are giving here in the argument of getString. So this is how we are retrieving the data, that is we are getting the data from the result set by using the getString method. Using getString or getInt or getFloat depends on the type of data that is belongs to the specified column during the time of table creation. Employee ID, if it is created as integer, then here you can use the method as getInt method itself. Okay, since integer, this getString method will return the data as a string. Though 11, we are not going to do any manipulations with this number, simply we are going to print it. So using getString also goes fine here. This is the simple program for the working of result set.